everybody, and welcome back to another Pokemon Challenge video. Last time, I took on a really unique challenge that I've always wondered about, and I asked myself the question, could you beat Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness only using Shadow Pokemon in battle? And yes, this was without purifying them. It was a really unique challenge and I had a ton of fun making it, and it was nothing like what I had expected it to be. So I highly recommend checking that one out when you're done watching this video. Today, we're going to continue our little mini-series of solo runs, continuing down the lines of generations, using unique and obscure Pokemon from those games. So far, we've done Stonjourner on Pokemon Sword, Dhelmise on Pokemon Ultra Sun, Helioptile and then Heliolisk on Pokemon Y, and this time, we're going to be taking on Black and White 2's Challenge Mode with one of the most unique Pokemon that came out of Generation 5. It's the Forever Alone Pokemon, Cryogonal. It's the crystallizing Pokemon? Oh. Anyways, guys, as always, it would really mean the world to me if you click the like button down below if you find yourself enjoying this video at any point, and if you want to see more videos just like this one. I do one every single week on Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and sometimes other days too. So don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell to be notified of every single one. And of course, leaving a nice comment like this one also goes a long way. Thanks so much, Brian. I'm really glad you're enjoying the challenges. With all that out of the way, let's pull the Uno reverse card of Stonjourner and see if I can beat Pokemon White 2's Challenge Mode with only a single Cryogonal and no items in battle. Let's jump right in and find out. Well, like I said, Cryogonal is the crystallizing Pokemon, because it appears to be based on snowflakes and ice crystals. The reason I said it was the Forever Alone Pokemon is because it's one of the few genderless Pokemon that is capable of learning the move Attract, with the others being Mew, Staryu, Starmie, Minior, and Dhelmise. So I guess I could have made this joke in the Dhelmise video, huh? Anyways, taking a look at Cryogonal's stats for Generation 5, you can see it has pretty solid special attack, special defense, and speed. This is why I called it the Uno reverse card of Stonjourner, if you will, because of Cryogonal's defense and special attack. Stonjourner is really strong physically, and Cryogonal is really strong specially, but Cryogonal is known for having virtually no defense, with 30 back in Generation 5. Very similar to Stonjourner's issue, with it having 20 special defense. Uno reverse card. Because of that, any physical attackers Cryogonal might run into could take us out really quickly. We're gonna have to overpower them if we want to stand a chance. So what exactly does Cryogonal have to overpower Pokemon with? Well, looking at the moves it can learn, we can see it doesn't get very much. The only special attacks Cryogonal get that aren't Ice type is Solar Beam, Flash Cannon, Hidden Power, and Signal Beam. But here's the catch. Flash Cannon and Hidden Power are TMs that are unobtainable during this run, meaning the only special, non-ice attacking moves we'll have access to are Solar Beam and Signal Beam. And with the use of Ice Beam, we're gonna be using a lot of beams. As for Cryogonal's ability, we don't have a say in that, as it can only have Levitate, but it might be useful. As for the rules of this challenge, they're gonna be the same as usual for these kind of runs. I'm not allowed to use any items in battle. This, of course, excludes any kind of Pokeballs, and held items are also fair game. There are several forced battles that require me to have more than one Pokemon. During these, Cryogonal is the only Pokemon allowed to move. I will stall the other Pokemon's turns with items from my bag that won't work, such as a revive on a non-fainted Pokemon. This item won't work and won't be consumed, resulting in the use of no items and wasting that Pokemon's turn. And I'm not allowed to buy any items from the Pokemon World Tournament, such as the Choice Specs or the TMs that I had mentioned, such as Hidden Power. With all of that covered, if you'd like, comment down below and let me know if you think we can win this challenge or not. I feel pretty confident in this one. As I say with these, speed is everything in a solo run, and Cryogonal's super fast. But we have some pretty major threats to ice, like Marshall in the Elite Four and Colress. Let's jump into this challenge though and see if I can beat Pokemon White 2's Challenge Mode, only using a single Cryogonal, with no items in battle. We begin our adventure as a young girl named Vanessa. I choose Snivy as our starter Pokemon. This way our rival will have Tepig, which is by far the most difficult Pokemon for Cryogonal to handle, as it becomes a fire and fighting type. Upon opening my party, I find our Snivy has transformed into a Cryogonal named Ohio. What? Ohio's a perfectly good name for Cryogonal. I've lived here my entire life, and we get a lot of snowflakes. If you're comfortable, tell me where you're from in the comments. Our rival Judas does a horrible job in our first battle, spamming Tail Whip enough times for Ice Shard and Bind to take him out. We have another battle with him immediately after at the Flockacy Ranch. He still only has his Tepig, however, but this time at a higher level. Thankfully without a fire move yet, so after leveling up a bit, we managed to get by with some good luck and learn the move Sharpen. That raises our physical attack by 1 stage, and since that's all we have right now, it should be pretty useful for the gym. The first gym is a normal gym, full of physical attackers with Stab, so Charon takes us out really quickly. But with the help of Oran Berries that Alder gave us, and leveling up a bit, we're able to get sharp enough to cut down his Patrat, Lillipup, and Challenge Mode exclusive P-Dove with small icy shards. There's the basic badge, 1 down, 7 to go. I immediately dart over to Burbank City, home of our next gym challenge. After beating her first gym trainer, Ohio grows to level 17 and gets a huge power boost in the move Icy Wind. This is a special ice move, taking advantage of Ohio's greatly higher special attack. The first attempt at Roxy doesn't go very well though. Icy Wind isn't enough to 2-shot her Grimer, and her ace Whirlipede takes us out with Rollout. I make a detour to the Burbank Complex and fight all of the remaining trainers. I give Ohio an Oran Berry, and now Icy Wind can 2-shot Coughing and Grimer as we get poisoned by Poison Gas. But luckily, Ohio gets a critical hit against her ace Whirlipede, taking it out in a single shot. There's the Toxic Badge. 2 down, 6 to go. We sail on over to Castalia City, home of our next gym challenge. But before we can fight Berg, we have to deal with Team Plasma in the sewers. We team up with Judas and take out some grunts, and now Berg is back at his gym for us to challenge him. Time for our third gym challenge already, versus Berg. First up is his Dwebble. We do over half with Aurora Beam right away, and it uses Rock Polish, which is much better than Rock Blast. And surprisingly, we're still faster and take it out the following turn. Next up is Carablast, who does a decent amount with Headbutt, but goes down to another Aurora Beam. His ace Leavanny comes in, and we do over half to it with Aurora Beam, and it misses Ohio with Razor Leaf. Nice! That makes up for all the times I missed with a 95% accurate Icy Wind. And with his final Pokemon being a Shelmet, that's all she wrote for Berg. First try, nice! There's the Insect Badge. 3 down, only 5 to go. Upon leaving Nimbasa City, it's time for our first fight against Team Plasma's Colress. Arguably, he's a Steel-type trainer, which is horrible for our Ohio. And to make matters worse, both of his Pokemon, his Magnemite and Clink, use physical Steel-type attacks in Magnet Bomb and Gear Grind. Gear Grind does have a chance to miss, but with Magnemite always using Thunder Wave on the first turn, I'm definitely going to need to train, as 1 Gear Grind is all it takes to wipe us clean. I tried this fight over and over for almost 2 straight hours because I was really stubborn and didn't want to train too much if I didn't have to. At level 29, Ohio learned the move Acid Armor. This raises his defense by 2 stages, like an Iron Defense. Even going into the fight poisoned to stop us from becoming paralyzed wasn't going to be enough. So I caved and trained Ohio to level 33. At this level, he learns the move Ice Beam, arguably the move he'll be using for the entire run. With this and the scope lens I picked up in Castalia City, he's able to bring Magnemite to Sturdy, even freezing it in the process. And with a well-placed critical hit, we take Clink out. Onward to Nimbasa City. With our newly learned Ice Beam, we make quick work of the gym trainers and come face to face with Elisa in our 4th gym challenge. Ice Beam takes Emolga out in 1 shot, and in comes Zebstrika. It outspeeds us, but luckily goes for the special Volt Switch, going into her Flaffy. Flaffy survives in red and gets frozen solid. I know she's going to heal, so I go for an Acid Armor here. This is because I know her Zebstrika outspeeds us, and it knows the move Flame Charge, which is both physical and super effective. Ice Beam finishes Flaffy off, and Zebstrika comes back out. It uses Pursuit, oddly enough, as Ice Beam does over half. And now it goes for Flame Charge, which doesn't knock us out thanks to the Acid Armor. And 2 more Ice Beam uses finishes Elisa off. There's the Bolt Badge! 4 down, only 4 more to go. After helping Judas take out some Team Plasma grunts, we make our way to Driftvale City and fight former Team Plasma Rude to gain access to the gym. Our 5th gym challenge is against Clay, the ground-type gym leader. Ground is weak to ice, so this is pretty straightforward. However, his ace, Excadrill, isn't weak to ice, and is a strong physical attacker, knocking Ohio out with ease. So I come up with a pretty neat strategy. I take Crocorock out in one shot with Ice Beam, and his Onix comes in. It has Sturdy, so it takes 2 Ice Beam uses, but it tends to go for Rock Polish here. We then can use Ice Beam again while he uses a Hyper Potion and finish it off with Ice Shard, taking no damage. Next is his Sand Slash. From memory, I know this thing likes to use the move Hone Claws, so instead of just knocking it out right away, I take this time to put up a Reflect. It does indeed go for Hone Claws, and I take it out the following turn as his Excadrill comes in. Ice Beam does slightly over half, and its Citrus Berry heals a lot of it back. But for some weird reason, Clay uses Bulldoze on Ohio, and because of his ability Levitate, we're immune to it. Awesome! That allows for Ohio to beat Excadrill, as we only had to take 1 Rock Slide. There's the Quake Badge. 5 down, 3 to go. We head over to the Pokemon World Tournament afterwards, and aside from Judas's Pignite giving us a bit of a scare, it went really well, even with having to fight Colress again. After clearing out some Team Plasma grunts with Charon and Judas afterwards, we make our way to Mistralton City, home of the 6th gym leader, Skyla. Being a flying-type gym, this goes as well as you would expect. Ice Beam one-shots her lead Swoobat, her Sigilif, Icy Wind breaks Skarmory's Sturdy, and Ice Beam takes it out the next turn, and her ace, Swanna, gets frozen solid by Ice Beam, thawing out only to use Feather Dance. Okay, well, that's Skyla done. There's the Jet Badge. 6 down, only 2 to go. I go get the Professor from Celestial Tower and take her Lucky Egg. This will greatly increase our experience over the remainder of the run, and then fly on Skyla's plane to Lentimas Town. We escort Bianca through Reversal Mountain and have our next rival battle with Judas in Undella Town. His lead on Pheasant is an easy knockout for Ice Beam, but now his starter is an Emboar. Ice Beam doesn't do much as expected, but thankfully it goes for Takedown. This doesn't take Ohio down, and the recoil damage allows for Ice Beam to take it out in 3 shots. His final Pokemon is a Simipour, which Ice Beam takes out in 2 hits, with its Scald burning us. We were cutting it close. But upon defeating Judas, Ohio learns the move Recover. That'll be really useful. Upon reaching Lacunosa Town, we run into Judas once again, but this time we team up with him to take on Team Plasma again. This time, however, we have a fight with Team Plasma Zinzalin and a Cryogonal of his own, a man of tick. With that taken care of, we immediately scoot over to Opelucid City, and once again, it's a gym Ohio is good against. The Dragon-type gym and its leader, Drayden. Ice Beam one-shots his lead, Druddigan, his Altaria, his Flygon, and his ace, Haxorus. That's the 7th gym done, and the Legend Badge secured. 7 down, only 1 more to go. Team Plasma invades Opelucid City and turns it to ice right after, and this time, Zinzalin has 2 Cryogonal. Even more, man. Only having Ice Beam for an attack, it's becoming an issue, so I head back to Driftvale City and teach Cryogonal the move tutor move, Signal Beam. This is basically the only non-ice special attack Ohio will be using in the main story, since Solar Beam isn't much of a use. So it's better than nothing, and perfect for Zinzalin's Weavile. With that taken care of, we make our way through the Marine Tube and reach Humalao City, home of the final gym challenge against Marlin. Inside the gym, Ohio reaches level 61 and wants to learn the move Sheer Cold, a one-hit KO move, so obviously it's not going to be much of a use. Well, this would normally be out of the question, but with how little Ohio learns, I decide to go for it and get rid of Reflect. It's time for the final gym leader, Marlin. This fight took me hours. It involved a lot of luck to go right. For starters, he leads with a Wailord, and his Caracosta will always come out next. Caracosta's a 3-hit with Ice Beam and can knock Ohio out in one shot with a Rock-type attack. I needed to get 2 Caracosta with full hit points, so I had to start the fight by landing a Sheer Cold on Wailord. Once that was done, I had to use Signal Beam on Caracosta, and it needed to use Shell Smash. This would lower its defense enough for another Signal Beam to take it out. It probably used Shell Smash about 20% of the time, so this took quite a long while. I couldn't use Sheer Cold on Caracosta because of its ability Sturdy. It not only lets it live on 1 HP from full health, but also makes it immune to one-hit KO moves. Next up would be his Mantine, and then his ace Jellicent. With the use of Recover, I could heal back more health than they were able to do to Ohio since they used special moves. Ice Beam takes Mantine out in several shots, and a lucky Sheer Cold drops Jellicent. There's the Wave Badge! All 8 badges have been obtained! Now all that stands between us and the Pokemon League is Team Plasma once again. Through the Seaside Cave, we enter the Team Plasma Frigate, and after finding the code, we locate Zinzalin yet again. After destroying him with Judas like we did back in Lacanosa Town, the Plasma Frigate takes off to the Giant Chasm. At the end of the Frigate, for the final time, we run into Colress, our first major roadblock. And with him being a mainly Steel-type trainer still, he's a roadblock yet again. At this point, Ohio is level 69, and there is no way I'm getting past Colress like this. I need his Magneton to at least be taken out in 2 shots. It's holding an Eviolite, so if Ohio can take it out in 2 shots, he can knock out his Magnezone in 2 shots as well. It takes until all the way to level 80. And in this time, while clearing out most of the trainers I had skipped, I got a Cherry Berry from a Ranger. This would be key for Colress. His Magneton leads with Thunder Wave, just like it did in the past. And without the use of items in battle, we cannot afford to be paralyzed the entire fight. I also retaught the move Confuse Ray to Ohio. This could help buy us enough time to not be paralyzed for his remaining Pokemon. I start the battle with Confuse Ray, and Magneton hits itself in confusion. Ice Beam then gets a lucky critical hit, taking it out right then and there. Next up is his Magnezone. I use the same strategy, Confuse Ray, and then it hits itself. Ice Beam takes it to below half, and it uses Thunder Wave. But we're cured of it because of the Cherry Berry, and one more Ice Beam takes it out. Next up is his Metang. This thing has Meteor Mash, which does a massive amount of damage to Ohio. This is why we needed to be at full health and not be paralyzed, so we could take a hit from it. But for the first time in hours, it just uses Agility, and we still outspeed even after it, taking it out with 2 Ice Beam uses. Next up is his ace, his Kling Klang, and it has Gear Grind still, which could undoubtedly one-shot Ohio. So I had to put it all on the table and risk everything on a Sheer Cold. And for the first time in hours, it lands, and one more Ice Beam takes out his Behem. It took a long time, but that, without a doubt, has got to be the biggest roadblock in this run, right? Maybe that's why Colress is ranked higher than Zinzalin. Getsus brings forth White Kyurem, but Ohio easily takes it out. And now, it's time for Team Plasma's boss Getsus. But, because we needed to level up a ton for Colress, Getsus was a joke. Ice Beam one-shot his lead Cofagrigus, Electros, Seismitoad, Toxicroak, his ace Hydreigon, and his Drapion, ending Team Plasma for good. We scoot our way through Victory Road, avoiding as many trainers as possible, and grab the PP Max for Ice Beam, before having one final rival battle with Judas. Ice Beam takes his lead on Pheasant out as usual, and his ace, Emboar, comes out. I drop a Sheer Cold immediately, as it has the capability of taking us out in one hit. And we do that to it with a one-hit KO. Simipour lands a critical hit Brick Break on Ohio, taking us down to red as his final Pokemon and newest addition, Bouffalant, comes out. It survives an Ice Beam, but luckily it misses its Mega Horn, and there we have it. We've reached the Pokemon League. I used the rare candies I had collected on our adventure and get Ohio to level 89 for our final gauntlet. I take on Caitlin first, as I think she could be a big roadblock with her challenge mode edition, Metagross. But her other Pokemon, being special attackers, are non-threats. Even her Renacles' Focus Blast did barely anything. Her Metagross won't be taken out by anything other than a sheer cold, and it will one-shot us. It's got a Life Orb in challenge mode. We luckily land a sheer cold and take it out, ending Caitlin with ease. Next up, I try Chantal, just to get her out of the way. Ice Beam one-shots everything except her Chandelure, which gets frozen solid and taken out right after. Ohio just froze a Chandelier. Yeah, that sounds about right. I figure Grimsley will be the easiest, so I go ahead and take on the most difficult next. It's Marshall. His entire team is a threat, as our defense is horrendous, and we're weak to fighting. So I use Confuse Ray on throw and take it out with an Ice Beam, freezing it in the process. Next up is Mienshao, who goes down to one Ice Beam, and so does his ace, Conkeldurr. His Lucario comes out next, and just like with Caitlin's Metagross, Ohio's gotta land a sheer cold here, which he does. And his final Pokemon's a Sawk. I use Confuse Ray to break it sturdy, but it hits through and uses Payback for some reason. We survive, of course, and it knocks itself out in the confusion. This has been such a weird run. The lack of moves Cryogonal gets in this game has led me to using sheer cold as a valid strategy, and it's working. It has hardly missed since Marlin, and with Grimsley, it was no different. Liepard goes down to an Ice Beam, and so does Scrafty, even after it brings me to only 10 hit points remaining with Brick Break. But it doesn't matter. If we get hit again, we'd lose anyways. Ice Beam takes Crocodile out, and his ace, Bisharp, comes out. Just like with Metagross and Lucario, we freeze this Steel-type solid with the most sheer cold imaginable, and Absol goes down to one final Ice Beam. It's time for Champion Iris. She may be a champion, but just like with Lance, she loves dragon types. Ice Beam one-shots her lead Hydreigon, and the main threat to Ohio, her Aggron, comes out. Ice Beam does over half, and it misses Head Smash. Nice! That most definitely would have knocked Ohio out. And after that, Ice Beam finishes off her Druddigon and Archeops with her Lapras coming in. This one takes a while. It resists Ice Beam 4 times, but with the help from Confuse Ray and Recover, Ohio manages to take it down with her final Pokemon and her ace, Haxorus, coming out. In challenge mode, it has a Focus Sash, which means it essentially has a one-use sturdy, but it doesn't matter. Ice Beam freezes it solid, and that's all she wrote for Iris. We just became the champion of the Unova region in challenge mode, and beat Pokemon Black and White 2, only using a single Cryogonal in battle. And we have won this game! Well, this run didn't go anywhere near how I expected it to go. Going into it, I didn't realize just how little in the way of moves Cryogonal gets in its arsenal. And by the end of it, I was actually using a one-hit KO move for a valid strategy to get past some of the bigger threats. I guess Cryogonal really lives up to that one-of-a-kind personality that a snowflake brings. I had a ton of fun recording this video though, as I always do, so it would really mean a lot to me if you guys would consider leaving a comment down below, telling me what you thought of the video, or maybe even contemplate leaving a like down below, and subscribing if you want to see more of these in the future. A lot of you guys that watch these videos aren't subscribed to the channel, so it goes a really long way. It's free, and you can always change your mind later. I've got so so much fun stuff planned for the channel coming up, so I really hope you guys are looking forward to that. I think next time we're going to continue down the generational line and head over to Generation 4 in the Sinnoh region. So what Sinnoh Pokemon would you guys like to see me use? Or what other challenge video ideas do you guys have in mind? I'm open to ideas. If you guys want to see more Pokemon challenge videos from me, I did a solo run on Pokemon Sword only using a single stone journer like I mentioned earlier. You can find a link to that video over here. Or if you've seen that one already or just want to see what other things I have in store for you, there's a link to the playlist of all of the Pokemon challenges I've done so far over here. With all that being said, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I really hope I get to see you guys in the next one for another Pokemon challenge video. Until next time, I'll see you guys then. Thank you so much for watching.